Hello and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castle Keeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be taking a look at the character class spotlight of the Primal Druid for Castles and Crusades, obviously. Primal Druid is a class that actually you can find in many different tabletop RPGs, obviously fantasy-based tabletop RPGs. So Primal Druid isn't the first time that it's making its appearance here in Castles and Crusades, and it probably won't be the last time because it is a fairly popular subclass of Druid. So without further ado, let's jump right in there and start taking a look at the Primal Druid in Castles and Crusades. So here we have Primal Druid is a wisdom-based character class. Beyond the hearth, beyond the home, beyond the wall lies wilderness both brutal and unforgiving. The beauty of the natural world, almost beyond comprehension, is matched by its terror and raw power. There, creatures fight for survival, and only the strong emerge victorious. From the smallest plant carving its way through the soft, moist soil, to the lion who breaks the neck of a hyena in one fell swoop, from the avalanche tumbling down the mountain slopes, to the wind that uproots trees and lays houses low, the world is hard, mindless, primeval. Man is significant in the constant struggle of nature. The wilderness does not need protection from man, rather, man needs protection from it. Primal druids are steeped in the belief that the natural world is an unforgiving, unknowing force where the swift, strong, and able dominate the slow and weak. They devote their lives to understanding this and channeling it. They can see with unclouded vision what the world is and use their knowledge for their own means and for those around them. Weapons are not shunned but embraced, for they are an extension of one's ability to make tools and to survive. For make no mistake, in nature, survival is key. Unlike the more recognized priests of nature, the Druidism practiced by the primal Druids is more a cultural perspective and belief system than a formal religion. Primal Druids respect and fear nature, but do not worship it. They view themselves not as a race separate and removed from nature, as many do, but as creatures from the part of nature. Primal Druids respect, I'll just show you the picture real quick. Um, Primal Druids respect nature and defend their territory, but they are not fanatical conservationists. Nature is a force of power beyond imagination. It does not need defenders. Indeed, destruction, birth, and rebirth through violent means lies at the heart of the natural world. Droughts, fires, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, and hurricanes all wreak havoc upon the world. Primal druids do not shun weapons of iron or steel. These are tools earned in the hard forge of life. However, they are aware that one of man's primary adaptations is the ability to run and to move quickly. For this reason, they prefer weapons that are light and do not restrain them, or do not become entangled in vegetation, on rocks, or in the water. Pole arms are never used. Complicated weapons like crossbows shunned. Heavy swords or mauls are also set aside. Their focus remains on lighter swords, axes, clubs, short bows, lassos, daggers, and similar items. The Primal Druid shares the same concerns over armor as they do weapons. They must be able to move freely and quickly without impediment. They shun heavy or complicated armament and never cover their heads. Their abilities. Spells. Primal Druids gain their spellcasting ability from the spirits that exist within all things. By establishing dominance over these spirits and bending them to their will, they channel power into spells. They do not do this in an overly destructive or wasteful manner, but as necessity demands. Beginning at first level, a primal druid gains the ability to cast a spell, cast a number of druidic spells. Primal druids need not prepare their spells, but they are limited to casting a certain number of spells per day, which may be improved by bonus spells. Bonus spells. High wisdom indicates a greater divine connection. Primal druids with a high wisdom gain bonus spells. If they have a wisdom of 13 to 15 or higher, they gain an extra first level spell. For 16 and 17, an extra second level, and 18 through 19, an extra third level. That's cumulative, obviously. Bonus spells can only be acquired if the primal druid is at a high enough level to cast them. Bonus spells are cumulative. Nature Law, which is a wisdom based skill. Primal druids are connected to the forces of nature. They mystically coexist with their environment, gradually becoming a larger part of it. This relationship imparts to them a specialized knowledge of wilds. A primal druid may freely identify plants and animals with perfect accuracy in an environment they are familiar with. In unfamiliar environments, a successful wisdom check is required to use this ability. Nature lore provides the primal druid with the knowledge to determine if water is safe to drink or identify a species of plant or animal as well as its traits or abilities. Additionally, primal druids can find shelter and forage for food. A primal druid always succeeds in finding basic shelter and enough food for individual daily sustenance. If the primal druid wishes to support additional people, they must spend 6 hours hunting and gathering to produce enough food or water to feed 2 to 8 people for a day. If a primal druid wishes to feed or shelter a group larger than the die indicates, a wisdom check is necessary. If successful, primal druid must spend an additional 6 hours gathering food and water for up to an additional 2 to 8 people. A third attempt to gather food may be made with a -4 penalty. If successful, another 6 hours of foraging can feed an additional 1 to 4. This additional effort allows the primal druid to gather food and water for up to 5 to 20 creatures total. The primal druid can only hunt and forage for food 3 times per day. Trackless step. At first level, a primal druid can move through a wilderness area with hardly a trace. There are no immediate signs of their passing. Any rangers tracking the primal druid do so against a CL equal to, that's challenge level, equal to the primal druid's level plus 10 plus any environmental conditions as determined by the castle keeper. Trackless steps always allows the druid to hide their scent as well. They may choose to leave tracks if desired. Woodland Stride. At third level, primal druids gain the ability to move through natural thorns, briars, overgrown areas, and similar terrain at normal speed and without suffering damage or other impairment. When doing so, primal druids leave no trail in the natural surroundings and cannot be tracked. However, areas that are enchanted or magically manipulated to impede motion still affect primal druids. Spell dominance. This ability underscores the primal druid's belief system to dominate spellcasters around them, even their fellow druids. At level 5, a primal druid may attempt to assert a temporary spell dominance over any other spellcaster. The target must be of equal or lower level and must be in visual distance. To attempt spell dominance over the target, the primal druid makes a wisdom check, CL equal to the target's level. Success means the primal druid has tapped into the other primeval rage and seized the magical power of their target. The primal druid takes away one spell slot from their target that is a level equal to or less than the maximum spell level they can cast. The stolen spell slot may be any level slot possessed by the target spellcaster. This spell slot transfers to the primal druid, allowing them to cast another spell whose level is equal to that stolen from the target. The target loses one spell slot for the remainder of the day and the spell that goes with it. The target is allowed to choose which spell is lost. They can dominate any class and steal a spell slot from them. That does not mean they can cast an arcane spell, only that they take a spell slot from the arcane spell caster. The stolen spell must be cast within 1 hour. This ability can be used multiple times. Classes. Sorry. Area dominance. At level 7, a primal druid can attempt to assert control over the spirits in a specific region. The druid is able to dominate a circle 1 mile in diameter, gaining 1 extra mile per level after the 6th. So at 6th level, it's 1 mile. At 7th level, it is 2 miles. At 8th level, it is 3, and so forth. To attempt area dominance, the primal druid makes a wisdom saving throw against the area's spirit level. Low is a CL 10, medium is a CL 20, or high is a CL 30, as assigned by the castle keeper. Successful results, in addition to bonuses depending on the area's spirit level. Low is a +1 in 1st to 3rd level spells. Medium is a +1 in 1st to 5th level spells. And high is a +1 in 1st to 7th level spells. The primal druid retains these bonuses only while they stay within the dominated area. So basically, it gives them they absorb the energies and they're able to gain a +1 to their spell usage during the time that they're within that 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more mile area that they're in. The area remains dominated by the primal druid so long as they are a constant presence in the area. They may leave, but not for prolonged periods of time, more than a month absent, and the area reverts back to its natural state, and the primal druid must dominate it again if they desire to do so. The primal druid receives a +2 bonus to any subsequent attempts to dominate an area that was once previously dominated. The druid may only dominate one area at a time. The spirits dominated here are those of the region, not the specific monsters that may dwell within. Natural Barrier. At 10th level, Primal Druids gain a spell resistance of 4 versus any elemental based spells or spell like abilities as determined by the Castle Keeper. So their basic stat block here is that their prime attribute is Wisdom. Their alignment, they can be chaotic neutral, neutral, or lawful neutral. Their hit die is a D8. Weapon, any weapon under 3 feet or 3 pounds. They cannot use crossbows. Armor is just padded leather coat, leather armor, ringmail, hide, chainmail shirts, or breastplate, any. Their abilities, I've already gone over their abilities. They gain a +1 basic to hit starting at level 2. And it looks like it maintains a +1 for levels 2 and 3, a +2 for 4 and 5, and so on, for a maximum of +6 at levels 12 and above. And so there we have the here's their spells. So they begin with their spells. So here at level 1, they would have 2 0-level spells and 1 1st-level spell, all the way up to they get their maximum level spells of 7 at level 14. So there we have the Primal Druid. And interesting class. It's like I said, it's not an uncommon class. You see Primal Druids in D&D 5th edition, probably a whole bunch of other. I'm sure that they're in Pathfinder, probably 1 and 2, and elsewhere as well. So Primal Druid, just an interesting take on the Druid class. If you want a little bit of an extra twist, where it kind of just it changes the culture of the Druid more so than really changes the nature of their spell casting ability and such. I think it just gives them a few that dominance aspect of them. Just makes it a little bit more intense. If it was the image just makes me think of that too. He kind of looks very intense, right? So anyway, another pretty interesting class. Another potential option for you to play as a player character or for a castle keeper to use for an NPC, just to add that little bit of uniqueness amongst NPCs. I know this has come up a few times in the comments section, where it's like, oh, these are all very niche and unnecessary, and some don't always make sense, and I agree with that. That it is very niche, and it's in some cases, I've come across some that had me scratching my head and say, like, why? But there's so many of them, and the thing that I like to do as a game master, regardless of the game system that I'm actually using, is I like to create these differences and have my players encounter things that they're not necessarily expecting, right? And so this really does give that opportunity to do that. I have a very experienced group of players. All right. I'd have to say that on the average, my players have been playing for probably 25 plus years, maybe even more. And so when you have players that are so familiar with playing, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or soon it'll be Castles and Crusades with the same group of players, um, to throw some of these twists at them, to have them encounter these NPCs that aren't quite, they'll be thinking, oh, that's a rogue, or that's a thief, or that's a priest, or a cleric, and I know what those classes are because I've been playing them or playing alongside them for 25, 30 years, and then you throw something with a twist like these have, and it just makes it a little bit more, fresh for them. So yeah, I would not take the idea that some of these classes are niche and not use them. In fact, that might be even a better reason to use them, because it really does just change things up a little bit, and that's important to do when you're dealing with with highly experienced players, or you as a as a game master. You might be a very experienced game master, and these things give us an opportunity to throw something that interests us out there. I mean, it's really interesting to create an NPC that is a class that's not out of the player's handbook. It gives us the opportunity to do that as well, and to and to get more enjoyment out of just the creation process of our world building and our adventure, you know stocking our adventures with interesting NPCs. And so I look at it from both perspectives, right? So both as a castle keeper and as a player, that don't avoid these things just because they're niche. So that's getting off my soapbox on that as well. But direct response to my commenters, and I appreciate those, and I like to address them, and like to respond to them both in writing and now verbally, so that you can see that I do listen to you, and even if we're not exactly eye to eye and everything, I appreciate your comments, and I'm going to give them a fair listening to, and a response to them as well. So keep those comments coming, and I like I said, I've always looked forward to having those discussions um, about what's going into the game, and so just keep those coming along. All right, thanks a lot for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, remember to subscribe, like, comment, share. Um, Check me out on Rumble so you can find Unscripted and Unchained RPG review on Rumble as well. Every once in a while, I've been throwing some very unique videos over there. I've been trying to keep somewhat of a separation between the two, although I have some crossover videos over there, and I'm trying to build a little bit of an audience there as well. So please feel free to look it up on Rumble, and you will find Unscripted and Unchained RPG review there as well. And you can also find me on Twitter under DM Bloodworth on Twitter, or just at Bloodworth on Twitter, and obviously on Facebook, where all of these videos end up getting posted on Facebook, on my website, or my page there, which is on screen gaming, OSG, and so you'll find me there as well. And that's where you can find a lot of these videos. To if you don't get the alert, hit that alert button. You'll get them when as soon as they go up. So have a nice rest of your day. This will actually get posted tomorrow morning, and I'm going to backload a whole bunch of videos, so they will be coming out periodically during next week while I'm on vacation. So I'm still planning on having a series of videos going all the way through next week, and I will probably be doing a live stream, because I'm pretty sure that live streaming does work in the Bahamas. So I will be live streaming from the beach with a nice drink in hand, and I'll do some live streaming next week, and obviously keep up with the hobby as well. So you all have a great one. Take care.